But I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this football team and where we're at. Obviously, we've been very good on defense the last couple years. We lost some starters, but we got a lot of guys coming back. I think the one thing about our football team is we had a lot of guys that played that didn't start or just came in and played quite a bit. So we've got a lot of guys coming back on defense. Lawrence Guy, who I think is probably one of the better defensive linemen in the country, leads our front. Vontez Burfleck, middle linebacker, who played quite a bit last year as a true freshman, had a great spring. Didn't get any penalties at all in the spring. I thought that was good, but he's a heck of a football player. You don't want to take a lot away from him because he's such an aggressive guy. Obviously, he's matured. We can't have some of the penalties that we had, but he's a heck of a football player. And in the secondary, Omar Bolden, who was hurt last year, didn't play and redshirted, is back at corner, and he had a great spring. So finally, we got a lot of depth on defense, and I'm excited about that group. The big change, and the thing that's really exciting for me, is how much better we're going to be on offense. I hired a new offensive coordinator, Noel Mazzoni, who has been around a lot, different places. We're doing a lot of different things, a lot of same things that I've done offensively over the years, but we're going to be in four wides a little bit more, no huddle, all the things that are happening in college football right now. And it was really fun in the spring for us because we really enjoyed what we were doing. Our quarterback situation, we've got two quarterbacks that competed during the spring. Brock Osweiler from Kalispell, Montana, who was played some last year. He's 6'7" or 6'8", or when they get over 6'2", to me they all look the same. But he's a big guy. He's about 240 pounds and a very good athlete. Played well when he did have the opportunity to play last year, and he had a great spring. He's really a talented athlete, probably as talented as I've had at that position. Stephen Treat, who is a transfer from Michigan, has experience. Sat out last year, but he's played in the big games when he started at Michigan the year before he came. So those two are competing, both good football players, and I haven't made a decision on what we're going to do yet. And so we'll see what happens. Our offensive front, we finally got some depth there, some guys that have played quite a bit, guys that have grown. Some of them had to play as freshmen and sophomores. Now they're bigger and stronger and a little bit more experienced, and so we're a lot better there. Led by Garth Gerhardt, our center, who I think you've heard of his brother, Toby. He won't make as much money as Toby, but he's a darn good football player. But he plays center for us, and he's really a good football player. Bryce Schwab, who's a junior college transfer for us out of San Diego, came in the spring and really helped us a lot. He's going to start at right tackle for us. So we're just a lot better there. And then our skill is the best we've had since I've been there. We brought a couple junior college receivers in, Michael Willie, George Bell, that have really made an impact. We got a transfer by the name of Aaron Flugraff from the University of Oregon that is really an outstanding football player. So it just makes us a lot better on offense. So I'm really excited to see where we're at. Our king game, Thomas Weber, who won the Lou Groza Award 2 years ago, to me is the best in the country. He was hurt last year. And the reason that I brought him is because it just shows you what happens when you don't have a kicker. You don't realize it until you don't have one. And so he pulls up with a muscle just before we go play Georgia, I think, and Thomas, and we missed 3 field goals in the game. That makes a big difference, and it kind of happened to us as the year went on. And Thomas is one of the best in the country, not just as a kicker, but what he does. He's already graduated. He's does a lot of things in the community. He's just an outstanding young guy, and you see very many kickers come to things like this. And so Thomas, the last I think that was here was Hanson from Washington State, and I coached him too, made him everything he was when I was at Washington State. So I'm going to probably help you a lot too. So,
oh yeah.
But Thomas and I will answer any questions that you guys might have.
And if you have any questions, please raise your hand. We'll get the microphone to you. Got one up here in the front right.
Coach, what impact do you think you made with the East Coast media in the sense of that so many times because of the time difference, our kids on the West Coast might get shortchanged a little bit?
I thought it was really good. I mean, we got to spend time with the media there. Got to go to the New York Times, which I read quite often. But I mean, it really did have an impact. People know who we were. We had a chance to go to ESPN in Bristol, Connecticut. That was an unbelievable experience for all of us. And to me, that was really valuable because you got a chance to talk to the talent there, and I got a chance to spend some time with one of my old players, Mark Schlereth, who played for me at the University of Idaho back many years ago. And it was great. It was a great experience for us, and I really believe it's going to help our league when it's all said and done.
Hi, for Thomas. Run down last season after the injury, what went through your mind and how you recovered this year, and are you 100% now?
Yeah, first when I got injured, I just wanted to do whatever I could for the team. I mean, even though I couldn't play, whether it was, coaching up Bobby, our other kicker, or, just helping out wherever I could on the field or at practice. And then after the season, it was just gave myself some time to rest and recover fully, and then just got right back after it, just determined to get back to the way I can kick. Yes.
Good. I wasn't sure. Thanks for telling me. He had a great spring kicking. I mean, he was back to his old self, and so it's going to be invaluable for us.
Down here in front left.
Thanks. Lisa Horn, FoxSports.com. Coach, can you tell me, it just seems like in the last few years, you've had a problem finding a quarterback, a clear-cut starter. Can you explain or kind of go into that a little bit?
Well, I mean, we had Rudy Carpenter the first 2 years, and he was a pretty good quarterback and did some good things, particularly the first year when we won 10 games. And then when he left, we were kind of we recruited a kid by the name of Samson Sagachi, who was a very good player. And he was a guy in our class, and he played some last year, and he got hurt. He hurt his arm, and he couldn't play. So we were kind of in between, and now that we recruited Brock, and he's there right now, and Stephen Treat, obviously the transfer, we feel good about where we're at. But sometimes when you have a guy for a couple years, and like Rudy, and you depended on him, now all of a sudden he's gone. We had Danny Sullivan, who, in my opinion, did better than a lot of people think and played pretty well for us. But I feel like we're there now with the two that we have and a couple young guys that we have, and you can't win without them, obviously. I mean, and that's the key. You look at our league, and we've got great quarterbacks in our league, starting with Locker, and you can go through it. And if you don't have one, you got some issues. And I really believe that we do now. And that, there's no question it hurt us the last couple of years.
Speaking of the quarterbacks, Dennis, how do you want that to go as far as when do you determine who the number one guy is? Are you going to make an announcement a week in advance, or do you want to maybe even let both of them play in the first couple of games to get a feel for them?
I don't know, Ted. It's going to be a feel thing as far as Coach Mazzoni and myself. If somebody jumps out in training camp, then we'll name a guy. If not, then we'll just see what happens. You'd like to name one before you get into the first game, but you never know. I've done it a number of different ways over the years, and hopefully somebody will emerge of those two and take the job. But the good thing about it is we got two really good quarterbacks, so that'll help as the season goes on.
Hey, Coach, two questions. One, you are picked 1 or 2 defense in the Pac-10, yet 9th overall. Can you talk about that? Secondly, can you speak about how you can correct some of the offensive line troubles from last year?
Well, to answer your first question, we have not been good on offense. And so when you're 1 or 2 on defense and you finish 9th like we did last year, obviously we've got to make some corrections on offense, which we'll do, and that'll make us a lot better. And that's a real key between us being a real good football team and an average football team. And our offensive front, we've had a lot of injuries there. That's not an excuse, but we got a lot of guys that have played a lot of downs back, and people don't realize that. So they're guys that our starting right guard, Adam Tello, started against Georgia at right tackle 3 years ago, whatever it was. And you talk about an education that he got that day, but all of a sudden he's 6'4", 310 pounds, and we're playing him at guard. and he's around the block, so he's a much better football player. And that's what's happened in our offensive front. What we're doing offensively, as far as getting the ball off quick and doing some of that thing, takes a little bit of the pressure off the front because the ball's gone a little bit sooner than usual. And so our offensive front's going to be a lot better than it's been.
Yes, Dennis, do you relate the addition of Utah and Colorado and the prospect of a conference title game in a couple years?
I like it. Bring Utah and Colorado in, two great TV markets. Obviously, our TV contract comes up in 2 years, so I mean that's important. Great programs. I like the idea of splitting into two divisions. I'm not sure how we're going to split it, and then having the playoff game. College football is all about big games to me, and you have them during the season. There's no question about it. Particularly in our league, when you play everybody. I mean, every game's tough, but to have that at the end of the year, to decide who's going to go to the Rose Bowl, to me is very exciting, and obviously going to be a national game, and that's important for our league.
Dennis, can you talk about how you ended up with the 2 1AA games and what, if anything, you get out of those?
Well, what happened? What happened is we had San Jose State scheduled, and they pulled out at the end. Go play Alabama for whatever. Alabama's giving him quite a bit of money, so we were kind of stuck, and we continued to try to get games. We just couldn't get one, so that's how we ended up with Portland State is who we're playing. So they're games, and where we're at in our program, we just got to continue to get better during those 2 games, but that's how we ended up with them, and then we play Wisconsin the 3rd game. So I like the first 2 a little bit better than that 3rd one, but.
Hey, Dennis, Bob Condotta with the Seattle Times. You mentioned Vontez and his penalties and all of that. Was decreasing those in the spring just a matter of like him being a year older and all that kind of stuff, or how did you work on that?
It's all about maturity. I mean, there's no question about it. And the guy, you don't want to lose the intensity that he has, because he brings intensity to our whole program. He's just got to control it, and he has. And I had a lot of guys like that at Miami, and. I obviously controlled them all, but you can't take it away from him how he plays. I mean, but he also understands that he's not going to hurt the football team. So we had officials out of every practice in the spring, and everybody thought it was just because of him. Really, we're kind of looking at offsides and some of the other things that we do too. But he's a good football player, and he'll mature, and he is maturing.
Do we have any additional questions? All right, hearing none. Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, appreciate it.
That's Dennis Erickson with his kicker, Thomas Weber. Last year, Arizona State won only 4 games, so confidence will be key this year. So getting off to a good start. They have 2 non-conference games they can